It's now law. It's law. The fact that we can see 8,000 pardons from Biden. Now that is way more than any other president. And to be honest with you, it's more than the last president since Kennedy. Since Kennedy to Trump. If you add all their pardons up, it doesn't even come close to Biden. But this is what we do. We allow him to pardon. Now the question is whether there back-end deals with that. There's some stories about Jim Biden and some ties to him. We'll talk about that today. We briefly touched on it last night in the live. If you missed it, you go back and watch. But we're going to talk about it today. Also, something else that's a back-end deal. You know, you have to watch these sleazy politicians. You can say what you want. I don't care if they have an RD behind their name. There's something happening on Capitol Hill. And Mike Johnson, who is supposed to be the best juggernaut and the best person tied to Trump, working close ties to him, there is a alleged report about something that we need to pay attention to. What is this deal that he's trying to work out in the wee time before Trump becomes president? We'll discuss that. Also, Ohio, again, drones flying over Ohio. There's this guy who builds drones for a living. And he said, this is exactly what it is. These are U.S. drones. There's no threat by them. He said, but they're looking for something. It happens to be from Ukraine. We'll discuss those stories today and a lot more. This world's crazy. It takes us balancing it out, and hopefully we can have a common sense approach to gaining wisdom and raising our families. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to The Max. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new, please come down here, press subscribe, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up. It means the world to us, and it helps us spread our message across this platform. Now, two other announcements. If you were not part of our live last night, go back and watch it, please. We had a great video yesterday, but also a live. And we talked about the fact of building another channel just on how we grow our gardens, how we live sustainable. So we tell you a lot about prepping and these breaking news stories and alerts, but to be honest with you, I want to get you to the next level. So please go over to Life with Colby Mack right now. Life with Colby Mack. I'll leave a link below. That is the new channel. We're going to do a giveaway over there for new subscribers for this month, no doubt. But you're going to get a wealth of information over there dealing with how we raise our food, how we live our life, common vlogging, and understanding what we do each and every day. So go check that vlog out, and also go check out that channel, subscribe, and you'll be entered into a giveaway. So we're going to be doing a giveaway here like we always do, and we'll do a giveaway over on the other channel as well. And again, before we start, we have a big announcement coming in on this channel, probably closer to the end of the week, closer to Christmas. There'll be a new series that we're starting out on this channel too that you're going to really, really like. Now let's dive into the stories of the day. First, let's talk about Biden. You know, a pardon by president means it's in law. Well, let's talk about the numbers. Biden has pardoned over 8,000 people. Now, you think, well, I mean, that's all presidents do it. I mean, come on, every president does it. Yeah, but here's the difference. Biden pardons 8,000. The next closest to him is FDR at 3,600. Woodrow Wilson at 2,400. And of course, the list goes on. I want you to look at these numbers that I brought up on the live last night dealing with the other presidents. John F. Kennedy, 575. Lyndon Johnson, 1187. Nixon, 926. Ford, 409. Carter, 566. Reagan, 406. Bush, 77. Clinton, 459. Bush Jr., 200. Obama, 1927, which is the second most in this last bit of history. Donald Trump, 237. And then Joe Biden, 8,062. If you add up every president from John F. Kennedy to Donald Trump, it doesn't come close to how much Biden just pardoned. Now, there was a breaking story that said that the people he pardoned had ties to giving money to Jim Biden, tied to, quote unquote, the Mississippi Mafia. I don't know where they get the namesake from. I've never heard of that, but I'm from Mississippi. But there are some ties that allegedly broke that why these pardons are happening is because there's some backroom deals happening with money. Now, don't tell me that most presidents don't have some kind of backroom deals working at all times. Don't tell me congressmen and politicians don't. They're all sleazy. But to tell you 8,000, I mean, that number's astounding, people. And some of that list was Chinese nationalists. Some of those lists were traffickers. Is this what we really want with a presidential pardon? Now, I do believe that they deserve that prestige and that executive power. But it comes to a point where there needs to be a limit and understandable value of who you're pardoning. If you're just pardoning friends of yours, come on now. That could be very dangerous. So I think it's something to look into. I think Pam Bondi, this new AG coming in, it's not the fact that you're trying to investigate Joe Biden or Jim Biden. I mean, we all know they're corrupt. The thing, though, is why and who is paying off politicians? That's what the bigger question is. If it's quote-unquote ethical and legal, just because we've wrote it into law, we need to fix that law so that way we handle this and make it better. 8,000. It's in law that these 8,000 can walk away, and now they're free. Do people deserve second chances and grace and mercy? Absolutely. Spiritually, of course. I talk about that all the time. But the bottom line is, 8,000, that's more than all the presidents added up since the 60s. There's a problem there. I honestly believe it's not the fact of just 8,000. I think the 8,000 covers up for the few that he needed to pardon, Hunter, and some of the ones that were near and dear to his operations. So if you keep your focus and focus on the Chinese nationalists or the trafficker, then you forget about the people that's his near and dear friends. So I think that's actually why the bigger number is there. That don't mean I necessarily like it. I think it's a bad policy to set. Let's talk about a few more stories. There was an investment made that Trump did with an investment banker. He came in, and he is a SoftBank CEO. And just because he sees the value of what Trump is going to change in America, listen to this. SoftBank comes in and says they want to invest $100 billion in a plan to unveil here in America. I don't like AI, I don't like smart technology, but to be honest with you, this is a good thing. We like the fact of people coming to America to do innovation, not other places in the world. So it says SoftBank CEO is scheduled to meet with President-elect Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago to announce a $100 billion investment. The investment aims to bolster the AI sector and is expected to create 100,000 jobs over the next 4 years. Now, I'll be honest with you. Again, I'm not a big AI proponent. But again, I would rather that technology be made here than overseas, so that way we understand the technology and we're being innovative here at home. But again, this is already showing that Trump is making huge inroads and people coming and businesses coming back on shore. This is what we want to see, a $100 billion investment. Now that doesn't sound like a lot when you're talking 36, 37 trillion in debt, but 100 billion is a big step in the right direction. This is what leadership looks like. Now that brings me to another conversation with Mike Johnson. You know, this is alleged, and so I want to make sure I put that out there because I don't know how this guy could be so close to Trump, but then at the same time be so tied up. And I think of Lindsey Graham, I think of all these other people, Thune, and I think most of them all like the talking points of being a true conservative and trying to be on pack with Trump and trying to do right by the Americans, but then the backroom deals, the money. Why don't you listen to this story that just came out, and this got released about 2 days ago, and I've been kind of sitting on it because I didn't really know how to handle it and really what I thought about it, but listen to this. It says, Speaker Johnson just said he was ending a backroom deal, but reports are that the negotiation of $50 billion of new spending is carrying big pharma projects and priorities for Bernie Sanders, Chuck Schumer, Mitch McConnell, and it's all behind closed doors. No one has read a bill yet about this, but it's all been done in secret. More importantly, why is Johnson considering giving Joe Biden's legislative victory previous to Trump being president? The speaker was rightly said that Republicans are better off waiting till President Trump is in as president to make any negotiations and leverage. So you hear that, you hear those words that he said that he does not want to do any new spending bills, nothing major until Trump's in. That's how he got away from the $24 billion going to Ukraine. But this is why I can't stand politicians. Just being honest. Is the whole time they're telling you what they're not going to do, they're doing it behind your back. This is showing a backroom deal with McConnell, Schumer, and Sanders, who are supposedly the Republican leader, the Democratic leader, and the independent leader. $50 billion with pharmaceutical companies. Now, he said he was not going to do any of these deals, and all of a sudden now there's a deal that's kind of pushing through, and they're going to try to work it through the House. And they're trying to say it could even happen before Christmas. Is this the kind of laws, is this the kind of backroom deals that we want from anyone with a D or an R or an I behind their name? No. Joel Salatin did make a good comment the other day. He said, I don't want to change one nanny state out for another nanny state. Now, he was not saying anything against RFK or against Trump. What he was saying, though, is if we try to make a fix to a problem and all we're doing is just putting new heads over it, it's not going to fix the problem. And it's kind of the same way with this. If we say we're going to do something and then we just still do the same old because that's what we've always done, then we've not fixed the problem. We've got to quit spending. We have no money. So it's funny because we're happy that somebody's coming in and spend $100 billion in new innovative technology for American to be on the shores and put 100,000 people in jobs. However, half of that we're wanting to spend with Big Pharma. I mean, you get what I'm saying? I mean, so if we don't stop spending, the fact of the money and the jobs that we're creating, it does not matter anymore. Just like you, if you get a raise and you get a 10% raise at your job, that is astronomical. People don't get 10% raises. However, you're still down on your cards because the inflation went up to 20 to 30% compounded to where all your groceries cost way more. So even if you made a monster raise of 10%, you lost 20% on your groceries, your insurances, and your gas. So you see how that works? Just because it looks good doesn't mean it actually is good. So when we hear congressmen or hear senators or we hear all these people, oh, we're going to work for the people. We're not going to pass any new spending bills. And the whole time they're doing port projects and backroom deals right in front of you and the American people. And then people get wind of it and they're like, oh, we wasn't doing that. And then somehow they slide in other bills. This is the kind of underhandedness that we've got to stop in the swamp of Washington freaking D.C. It makes me so mad. I get so furious because we get good news of good infrastructure, good money coming in, people are doing better, and then bam, they take it all away because they spend all our money because there's some kind of catch-22 where they're going to make money at the very end of this project. They're going to have kickbacks at the very end of the project. They're going to have their jobs at the very end of this project. So although I want to trust Mike Johnson, I mean, he's like the little nerd that hangs around. To me, it's kind of like we're watching, I don't know if none of you are from the 80s and 90s, and you watch the old sitcoms, the high school sitcoms, the teen sitcoms like Saved by the Bell. You know, you have like Zach Morris and Slater, who are the cool guys, and they're hanging out, and that's kind of like your Trump and your J.D. Vance or Elon Musk. And then you have Screech, who's just there. To me, I feel like Mike Johnson's just the nerd that hangs around. I mean, he's at every event with Trump now, and it looks cool. I know he feels great, but is he actually passing and doing the things that Trump wants to do? That's the key. We can laugh and joke about it, but this is your dollars and my dollars that they're spending. $50 billion for companies who are already making multi-billions and truly hadn't done nothing but actually make our age limits and our life expectancy lower. Think about that now. Since we've given more money to these companies to so-called give us medicine, what we've done is actually made our life expectancy shorter, made our health overall worse, made our comorbidities and our mortalities worse, and we've gotten fatter as a nation. That's what medicine's given us. But we want to keep flowing money to them like they're going to heal us, and truly what they're doing is just putting us in a nanny state. So we need to pay attention to this kind of stuff. We hear what they're saying, but their actions speak louder than words. They scream, actually. So if we see another monster bill come across this desk before Biden can sign it, what actually have we accomplished when they're doing all this stuff to harm Trump? It's kind of like all these liberal judges. Now, the Congress and the Senate know the Republicans will win, and the Congress is half split. Basically, you have Republican and Democrat when it comes to the House Republicans versus Senate. But why in the world are they letting these liberal lifetime appointment judgments go through for Biden to sign off real quick on? So you hear actions speak louder than words. The Republicans, the people with the R behind their names, can say all they want and how they're just going to make sure everybody is getting deregulated and things are good and the pendulum's swinging and conservatism is back, and they're letting liberal judges pass through and they're just not voting on it. Or they're just letting it go through because they're voting present. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. So you want to know the truth? I don't like any of these Congress and Republicans. I don't like a lot of these Republicans that's in the Senate and Congress, especially if they've been there a while, because most of them have built up some kind of rapport with these big lobbyist firms and these big groups to where they're actually causing more problems and strife for us. That's just my thoughts. Lastly, one more thing about the drones. There was a guy that spoke who was a drone military expert. And again, you can go back, he is trending tremendously on Twitter, but it looks like the company was like Saxon or something like that dealing with drones. He makes military drones for the military. I mean, that's what he does. He's a contractor, and he said, you know, the thing that has me most concerned, and this is Joe Rogan actually shared this, saying, you know, I didn't really buy into all this stuff, but he said, now when you hear this guy speak, it is concerning. He said, there's no reason to ever fly at night unless you're looking for something. He said, we have technology that we can see natural gas, we can see gamma rays from radioactivity, we can see search and rescue situations, but for the most part, there's no reason to fly at night. He said, what they're doing, and he backed all these other conversations that we had, that they're probably looking for nuclear waste or a nuclear warhead. He said, and you need to go back to it's a 9-minute clip on Twitter, but he said there is a Ukrainian warhead, nuclear warhead, that was supposed to stay away from America. And somehow these few warheads, quote unquote, misplaced. And now they're looking for them. Now that's just a story, again, alleged. But this guy is not stupid. This is a guy who builds the flippin' drones for the military. He's saying this is their capabilities and this is what they're most likely doing. He said, I'm not trying to fearmonger you, I'm not trying to harm you, I'm not trying to make panic. He said, I'm just being honest. That's exactly what they're probably doing, because he said, I've been a part of these kind of things, I've seen these kind of stuff. And what they're probably doing is looking for what they quote unquote misplaced. He said, if you remember, there was a time in Bill Clinton's administration where they kind of did the same thing. He said it wasn't as big as what this is. He said because of social media. He said, but this happens, and all of a sudden now it leads for concern. Well, there's now, you know, they were all outland. They were all right there on the coast of eastern and western coast of America. Well, now there's been sightings in Texas. There's been sightings in deeper in Florida. There's been sightings in Ohio. There's been sightings in all over, even inland areas. Now, that's something to be concerned with. Now, I don't like beating a dead horse. I don't like talking about the same thing every day. But what I'm trying to say is, go back and watch yesterday's video where I talk about what you need to have just in case something like this is found. You know, we have adversaries that don't like us. And I'm telling you, a lot of this stuff is going to happen. A lot of this stuff is trying to be planned by these adversaries before Trump takes office, because they know there's going to be a major chain of command difference and a weak leadership going to a strong leadership on January 20th. I mean, you're already seeing the impacts of it, like South Bank, like some of the military situations, like some of the peace agreements that Trump's already started. So now it comes down to, we're a race against the clock. While they're flying these drones, might not be any harm to us, but it might be the fact they're looking for something. And what are they looking for? Something that could cause major chaos here in America. So now that's 3 major experts on drones, 3 major experts on military and how they operate, contractors, within the last few days that we've talked about, that all say they're looking. And they're not looking for just gas or humans. They're looking for something that's very dangerous. And it could be nuclear. Guys, let me know your thoughts on these things today, these situations where the 8,000 commutals and pardons, that's ridiculous. That's unbelievable that Biden did that. The fact that Mike is trying to do this backroom deal, I'd like to know more about that, and trying to pass these laws that they say they're not passing, but they're actually passing. And then again, the situation with the drones is getting even more creepier by the day. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Please go check out my other channel. I really want to grow it to learn and let you learn how to grow food, let you learn how to be sustainable. Sometimes it's not about raising a farm, it's about raising your family. We're going to talk about a lot of that. Life with Colby Mack. Please go check it out. I'll leave the link below to that too. Guys, thank you for watching. God bless.